Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Asma, and the purpose of my video today is to tell you about how to score high in ST3, ST4 online interviews in this year 2021. So this is a continuation of the video which I did before, that was how to do the application on Oreo and how to apply for ST3, ST4, and also I explained in my previous video was about how your application would be assessed, because 50% of the weightage is for your application, and the rest 50% will be the interview. So today I will be discussing about the interview, and I'm quite excited. First of all, I will introduce myself. I will briefly make you aware about my background, and then we will discuss about the interview. So I am an international medical graduate from Pakistan, where I did my specialization in pediatrics, FCPS. And with FCPS, I was able to get GMC registration, and I moved to the UK. I finished my MRCPCH as the written parts I had already done before moving to the UK, and then I did the clinicals here. So I had applied for ST3, ST4 twice, and unfortunately I wasn't able to score well enough in the first time. However, for the next time when I was fully prepared, it was successful. So to be honest, when I had applied for ST3, ST4 that year, I had also applied for GP training, and I had applied for a neurodiagnostic specialty, which is clinical neurophysiology, because from Pakistan my interest was neurology and my ambition was to get into neurology. But I would discuss about my journey later on. So in short, I had got selected in all of the three applications which I opted for. It was GP, Pediatrics ST3, Pediatrics ST4, as well as Clinical Neurophysiology ST3. So presently I'm working as ST3 Clinical Neurophysiology in Great Ormond Street Hospital, London. So coming back to the interview assessment, I think it is quite a stressful part, and I have been there in the journey, and there are quite upsets, and sometimes it overwhelms you. So I will try to make this process easy, and I will like to give insight from my experience to help you understand the process better. Once you understand the process, I guess there is nothing new about it. And I wish you all the best for the success. So coming to the interviews, so I will keep focused, I will stay focused on the RCPCH web page, which has given the detailed knowledge of what stations would be covered and how much duration they will be and how much weightage they will be given in scoring, and then then I will take them one by one. So to begin with the online interview domains, there will be 4 stations or 4 parts. It is a quite brief interview. It is 30 minutes. So it is similar as we do in our OSCEs. So we have stations for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes duration, and then we are assessed by assessors, and then we are given marks. So before beginning, I will tell you all what they need to assess, as is described in the domains, is your pediatric experience, your own skills, and your own personality, and your own knowledge and experience, and everything which has come with time in your personality. So I was also misguided, I would say, or maybe I would say I was so stressed about getting into the training that I had acted upon everyone's advice, and in the end I had even gone to special interview preparation course, and I spent quite a lot of money, and now I regret, to be honest, because all it takes you to pass this assessment is being a pediatric doctor. And as you have done, or you are in the process of doing your MRCPCH, the clinical MRCPCH has all the extensive extensive guidance and preparations already laid for the preparation of this interview. So I would say that rather than wasting your time in additional courses or buying books for preparing for interviews, stay focused with your basic pediatric skills, and then focus on the scenario, and then understand the stations and move on. So first of all, there are 4 stations. First is the communication, which has 40 marks. Then it's 10-minute station. Governance and leadership, it has 5 marks. It is 5 minutes, but carries 20 marks. Reflective practice as well, 5 minutes, 20 marks. And then is clinical thinking, which is 10 minutes, 40 marks. So to start with, communication scenario. So you would be presented a communication scenario 4 minutes before the start of the interview, and then after 4 minutes the assessors will start interviewing you about that scenario. So as I would imagine most of you would have passed MRCP-CH, or if you have, you are in the process of getting yourself ready. So go to MRCP-CH communication skills websites, books, and the resources that you have used then, and stick to it. Communication in this assessment is 100% the same as we were taught and we do in our practical life. There is nothing out of ordinary, there is nothing which is hidden, there are no tricks, there are no ambiguities. It's straightforward station. For example, if you are given the communication scenario as breaking a bad news, new diagnosis, or communication for a drug error, or communication between the colleague, a communication for a teenager, all those communication scenarios we have already been through, and we do it every day in our daily life. So don't get surprised and don't get distracted. Stay focused and do the XYZ that we were told. First of all, that you have, like, it is how long is the station for? Sorry, so it is a 10-minute station. So prepare, once you are given a scenario, prepare your notes. What would be the expectation? So what you already know, what you want to know, and how to take this conversation further. What are the outcomes that you would like to know? And you would need some time for the patient or the parent or the carer to feedback to you, and then closing remarks. So the skeleton is the same, the name is different. So for example, you start your communication by knowing, it is judged by your eye contact, by your body language, by the tone of your voice, by how empathetic you are, by how direct you are, by how confident you are, and how much composed you are in that scenario. Then you move on to make an introductory statement. You start your conversation, and then you make up common grounds of what is already known or what your conversation will be about. Then you take their concerns, their ideas, their expectations, and then you move on, make a plan, think about it, and then you finally get to the outcome that you are intended to do. So stick to the basic plan. Don't get yourself distracted. MRCP-CH resources are excellent for going through the communication scenario. So get back to your books and prepare yourself for the communication scenario. It is 10 minutes duration and it is 40 marks. It will be assessed 50% by the one assessor, 50% by the other assessor, and then your observer would be a third person who would be watching the interview and would give a feedback. So this is the communication scenario. Now the second station is governance and leadership. So in NHS, while working in the NHS, you would know that governance has 7 pillars. So I can enumerate them, but the nutshell is that whatever you do as a doctor or as a person while working in the NHS, you should be accountable to that and you should be transparent. So when these two things mix together, they are applied in each and every step in patient care, in their management, in preventing errors, in quality improvement, in audit, in IT, in endless things. So the nutshell of governance is that it applies to endless things. It applies to each and every part of your practice. And then how do you make yourself present yourself in a leadership role if you are given a scenario? So what are the 7 pillars of clinical governance? So it is risk management, clinical audit, clinical effectiveness, complaint and compliments, service user and staff experience, compliance and standards. And all these things, they come together, and you have a concept of a continuously improving environment, which is extremely safe, efficient, respectful and flourishing environment for the patient who is the service user. So there are endless possibilities of governance scenarios which can be presented to you, right from a drug error to a communication gap, to a dealing with a colleague, to dealing with rota gap, to dealing with stress, pressures, multiple tasks at a time, how to prioritize. So so once you are presented, so I believe in the clinical, in the governance, you are not given any time. So you would be presented scenario at the same time when your interviewers are speaking to you. So they will verbally present the scenario and then they will take you to the steps. So my experience in the communication scenario is that in every governance scenario, is that in every situation you have to get more information. Limited information or a second-hand information is never good enough to make your decision and clarify your concepts. So first of all, go and clear the communication gap and get the truthful information. Then present it to yourself in a non-judgmental way and say that if XYZ happened, and if supposedly you were a part of it, how would you feel and what positive steps you need to do in order to close the gaps, in order to improve service. So understanding, transparency, then escalation, that you if it is up to you that you can solve that error, yes, go ahead and solve it. If not, raise it to the line manager and then move it on and complete the cycle. So if it has to end like apologizing to the parent or the colleague, or making the supervisor know about the situation, or writing a datex about it, so you should know what's next step you need to do. So the basic scenario, the basic framework always remains the same, but definitely scenarios will be different. And by what they mean by this station is they will assess your intelligence in judging the situation and then attaining the leadership role. So give yourself plenty of time to understand and then gradually cruise through this station. It's only 5 minutes, so I don't expect it to be very elaborative. So it will be probably a simple problem presented to you, and you have to justify yourself. Just think that you have to be transparent and accountable. If you focus on these 2 things, the rest of the things will come together as you move. So now coming to the 3rd station, which is reflective practice. It is also quite brief, 5 minutes, and in this practice as well, they want to assess the ability to learn from reflection and feedback. So basically your aptitude and suitability to specialty. Again, they will not give you any heads up. It will be face-to-face scenario. They will just put you on the spot and then you have to explain. This is a very brief station. What you need to do is explain a scenario. And reflective practice, basically I would like you to just Google Gibbs reflective model of learning. So that gives you an outline of how reflective practice works. So reflective practice is that you have been in a situation, describe the situation XYZ, take it to how you felt, then come to I will probably, if I would show you in the model, it will become quite interesting. So it basically describe an event, then how have you felt, then you evaluate like what went wrong, what were the positive points that you gained from it, and what were the negative points, and then you analyze them, that how, you know, how important these were and how they have come across. Now your basic conclusion is that you need to improve your experience with all the scenarios. So next time if you are placed in the same situation, you will act and cope in a better manner. So this is the gist of this station, reflective practice. How you would describe yourself. So for example, keep the description of the event very brief and spend more time on what are the facts which have led you to improve your practice later on. So for example, if I were to give an XYZ example of a resus scenario of a neonatal resuscitation where baby was born poorly, and maybe a team member did not communicate effectively and efficiently the severity of the situation, and the consultant was notified later because of the communication gap, and then XYZ was your feeling, and then next time whenever you're going to the theater, you're making sure that you're reading the scans and you're reading the reports, and if there are any high alert, you are preempting the consultant. So I guess most of us, we have been in this situation where we are thrown in a deep corner, and then we somehow we make our way, and then we come back and we think and we reflect and we think, oh yes, next time I think that this point is really very crucial, and I will try to you know, adjust this adjustment before I carry on. So make it very, the description of the event should be very brief, your feelings should be very brief, but the outcome and your future implication and how you have improved your practice, that is the basic you know, outcome they want to see in a doctor. So 5-minute station, maybe if it is a good idea now to write down your leadership skills, XYZ, the scenario, what happened, what you felt, what was the outcome, and how have you improved your practice after that. So that was about reflective practice. Now I'm coming to the last station, which is clinical thinking. So this is very intellectually designed station. It is not acute management or pediatric resus management or anything, but it is something related to that. So it is situational judgment and clinical problem solving. So you would be presented about a scenario right on your face. So there is you won't be given any chance to compose yourself. So basically it is testing your instincts. I would say even if you are given a very ready-made and a very hot topic like a DKA, status asthmaticus, status epilepticus, or a resus situation, or SVT, or anything, don't jump into the situation. It is, now they have changed the name, and probably they want to see that intellectual thinking and cognitive awareness of a pediatric doctor in decision making. So even if you're given a presentation of a DKA, you still question yourself, or even if you're given a situation of status asthmaticus, difficulty in breathing, heavy breathing, rule out XYZ, make your differentials, scratch your head, list differentials which can mimic similar presentations. So I think the catch in this scenario is that you would be presented in a situation, but rather than directly jumping to the diagnosis and, you know, planning your XYZ management, slightly give yourself 30 seconds or a minute and say, if I were to see this condition, is there anything else which can mimic this condition? And in order to rule out what is the gold standard or a very diagnostic or very quick a test or a examination I can do to rule it out. So I would say the clinical thinking is more about your being more precautious, maintaining your limits, but executing the plan at the same time. So when you are really sure that if it is a life-threatening situation, of course you have to save airway, breathing and circulation, your primary servant. If there is oxygen needed, if there is sugar bolus needed, or airway support needed or circulation needed, I'm not here to go through the research scenario or tell you about the APLS, but as the primary survey, whatever intervention you do in order to save the life, once you know that this child is not critically ill in a situation, and you have at least some time to think about the plan, sit back. If you think it's a DKA, download the trust protocol and see what things have changed since you last managed. If it is a trust asthma protocol, just quickly look through the process, what new interventions have changed since you last did this, and any point that you think. And I would say, rather, if it is a critical situation, you need to give heads up to your consultant anyways. This does not change your role as a team leader, but still it makes them aware that you are practicing safe. So what they want to gain from all this assessment is that you are a sensible and safe doctor, and you won't kill you won't in a sense do something majorly wrong with the patient. So as a registrar, this is what consultant expect us to do, and this is what this all assessment is based on. So I would leave you to it, and I would say in a nutshell, it is very similar to MRCP-CH OSCE, and it is 100% similar to what we do in everyday life. What by the end of this assessment they want to prove is that you are a safe ST4 pediatric registrar or ST3 pediatric registrar who can sustain and maintain a situation safely until the help arrives. Prove yourself that you are a good team player as well as a team leader, and preparation is a key. And I think by going through all these steps in a composed way will help you cruise through this interview successfully. And I wish you all the best, really. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I really hope you're the best. Thanks. Bye.